everyone, today I'm going to show you my ultimate language learning Excel sheet. It's basically a full-on hub that keeps my entire polyglot life organized. It tracks everything from my study time to flashcards and random book selection. So let's dive in. I'm here on the main dashboard called the language list. Each row is a language that I'm either studying right now or have studied in the past. Ones that I've made dashboard pages for, these are actually links that will jump straight to that dashboard. Column B is my current study status for that language. So that could be maintaining, not studying, occasionally studying, brand new language for me. You can add any option you want here. This one is currently studying. These options come from my validation sheet. In this column, you can change them to be whatever you want, as long as you make sure that you update the data validations right here. You'll have no problem with it. Column C is how I'm feeling about that language. I could be loving it, I find it fun, it's annoying, so-so, don't really like it, completely hate it, whatever the value might be. You can again put whatever values you want in column D. All you have to do is update the data validation tab here and make sure you apply it to the entire column. Then we've got the materials list. Now, this is a complicated formula that took a little bit of trial and error to do. For every language, I had to make a formula like this that pulls off books that are written in the language or they're written in the target language. The value here, A2, refers to this sheet right here. So basically, for books that are written in Japanese, it will look in my book list and find all the books with that title. From there, I will be able to select as a drop-down any of these books. These are all my books that are either written in Japanese or they're targeting Japanese learning. Column E is my progress column. This value updates automatically from the book list, and I'll get into what my book list looks like in a bit. But just know that this updates on its own, and it also changes depending on the book I've got selected. So for example, this book, I am almost halfway done with it. But this book, I've got quite a bit to go, but it's also a very long book. Column F is the current number of books I've completed. This updates automatically from the book list as well as my total number of books. Then I have my study time. This quantity updates from my study log tab down here in purple. And then we have this optional column I for studying. It's just a checklist I could use to mark off languages that I've worked on. You can add or remove it. It's completely up to you. Although if you do remove this column, you'll have to ensure that these values still stay here or you're going to get some weird formatting errors. Deleting columns might make this function not work correctly, but if you know how to edit Visual Basic, then you probably won't have a hard time with it. And I can show you a little bit about that momentarily. This button selects a random language, which pulls from here. This is a VBA macro. It will randomly pick a language. And then from there, if I click random book, I'll get a book that is either written in that language or targets that language from my book list. Down here, we have some daily tasks. You can put whatever you want here. This is just a simple text area. You could even delete it if you don't want it. I use it to kind of hold myself accountable to the languages that I want to learn at the moment. Here is a quick and easy weekly calendar if you have weekly goals that you want to just check off. It doesn't update automatically, importantly. It's not linked to this column over here at all. But I find it very satisfying to mark off all my languages for the day. And then finally, there's this little to-do list area. This, again, doesn't update automatically from anywhere. It's just something that you can add for yourself. Now, into my book list. This book list has 8 columns. Column A is the language the book is written in. Column B is the language the book targets, which means what language am I going to be learning from reading this book. Column C is the location of the book. In my case, this is Book Live, Kindle, a physical book, or a PDF or a website. I've decided to include websites as a material, but the type of options that you can have for location, you can change right here in the validations tab. And all you have to do is just ensure that the data validations are correct. The title, self-explanatory, it's just the book title. E is the current page of the book. F is the total number of pages of the book. This is used to automatically update the progress bar. This is a sort of complicated formula that just pulls the values from the 2 columns to its left, basically. Then this progress bar appears over here on the language list when I select that book. And then finally, column H is just my notes, and column I is just some tags that I can use to help search for different kinds of books easily. I haven't really fully fleshed this out, but you could do probably quite a lot with this. Or honestly, you could get rid of these 2 columns if you don't want them. They don't really do anything automatically. It just keeps me organized. Then I have a book wish list, just books that I want. I don't have them. I mark the language they're in. I put a title, the cost, and a link if I can find the link. This conditional formatting, you can change here to anything that you want, really. I use the same formatting over here in the book list and in the language list for the most part. The language dropdowns that you see here also come from the validations tab, and so if you want to change the languages that you're doing, you need to update this, and then you need to make sure that you update the data validations here and make sure they're correct and that you apply them to all of these. So it's a little complicated, but once you get it going, it works. I have a study log. This is where the study time for the languages comes from. You can see in column F, these are quantified in hours. I have just a quick little note of what the topic was. I can select any book. Now, I haven't differentiated these by language because maybe you're studying multiple languages at once and you don't want to be pigeonholed by just putting languages here. It would kind of make this not work very well. The other columns are just like my Notion notes and then a date. Now, the fun part. Here is my Japanese dashboard. There is quite a lot going on here. First and foremost, these 3 columns here. The first one is the term as you would write it in kanji, or if there is no kanji, just hiragana or katakana. The pronunciation is just the hiragana. You could use romaji here if you're not comfortable with hiragana yet. And then I have the gloss, which is just the definition in this column. And then this column, stretch this out a little bit. I just put good here. You can name this whatever you want. This is just my self-assessment of whether or not I feel like I can skip this word when I'm doing flashcards. And this value is taken into account over here with this skip good option. If I have this ticked, when I use this interface up here, rows that are marked good will not be selected. So that's an option that you have. You can turn it off. And for these buttons up here, random word will select a random row and then only show column A. The other 2 columns will be basically invisible. So for example, it picked this one. When I want to see the answers, I have a couple options. You can read it up here in the function bar, or you can pick reveal and it'll show them. If I click clear, then that formatting is removed. If I want to do fill in the blank, you do again the same thing. I get the word here. I can type it. And then I can click check answer. And I get an automatic pop-up that my values were correct. Now, this just means that what I typed exactly matches the values of column B and column C. If I didn't get it right, nothing would happen except for I wouldn't get the pop-up. Then I can use this to jump to the term, which is still highlighted because this is also going on in the background when you click any of these buttons up here in fill in the blank mode. And then now you can see the options. So here's an example with random pronunciation. Now I can't see the full term and I can't see the definition. Similarly, I can do random English, and now all I can see is the English term, and I would have to guess the pronunciation and then the kanji. Now, another fun thing that I have going on is to roll a random kanji. You could kind of edit this to put this wherever you want, but you would have to edit the VBA macro. If I click this, it goes to my preferred website, which is ZI Tools, but you could edit the VBA script to have this link to basically any website that you want. Finally, the last option here is Jinmeo. This means that the random kanji I get includes Jinmeo kanji. If this is unticked, you will only see Joyo kanji, which means the 2,136 characters that you need to read and write Japanese. That comes from this Excel sheet right here. So technically, you could change that to have any kanji that you want, and this would pop up here. But you would have to also edit the VBA script so that it's not selecting kanji from cells that are blank. This button takes me back to the language list. So it's just a convenient little shortcut. If you scroll down, you're like, man, I really don't want to jump all the way back to the top. Well, I have a go to top button. This is a kanji writing practice sheet that I made. You can basically print this out like this, and then you basically have unlimited writing practice if you want it. You can put the pronunciation and the definition here if you'd like. You can also just delete these columns and leave them blank. It's totally up to you. This is completely customizable. I have this Cantonese dashboard. It's very similar to the Japanese dashboard, but I've got different buttons here, and I've also got a slightly different layout. I also have an area for grammar notes, and this is a screenshot from one of my books that kind of explains the Cantonese tones. The book is in Japanese, of course. I've also got those tones up here at the top for easy reference because I really struggle to remember which ones are which. So you get kind of a similar thing here as the Japanese sheet. It will pick a random word, pick a random pronunciation, pick random English, and then you would just fill these out. If you untick quiz mode, it would just jump to it like that. And yeah, you have a lot of options. Mandarin, this is pretty much the same as the Cantonese dashboard. I won't get into it too much. The same options are here. You have the same tick boxes, the same buttons right here, same quiz mode, skip good, roll a random Hanzi. The values for the Cantonese characters and the Mandarin characters come from this Excel sheet over here. This is for Cantonese. This is for Mandarin. So I just want to point that out really quick. I have a Korean dashboard. In this particular case, I'm using Hanja because I like to learn Hanja and it helps me remember the words because I'm a fluent Japanese speaker. You could theoretically replace this column with just the Korean word. You could put the pronunciation right here in Roman letters, and then you have the gloss right there. And this one, this is for Russian. My middle column here isn't for pronunciation, but instead this marks the kind of conjugation I have for the word. So, for example, is this in the nominative case or the accusative, genitive? All of those things you could put here. It has kind of the same options as the other sheet. So there's not really much else to talk about here other than my notes I've got that I wrote myself. This is my Swedish dashboard. There's not much else to see here. It's kind of the same thing as the other sheets. Now my ASL dashboard is very different from the others because learning keywords in ASL, you're not really able to put just a video or something into the sheet. That would create quite a big file size if you did that way. So instead, I just have it pick a random sign from my list, and then I practice the sign myself, and I can check, jumping to the entry, this link to YouTube. You can link to whatever you want, wherever your source is. You could have it be YouTube, it could be LifePrint, any other dictionary. Totally up to you what you do with it. And this is the same thing as the good column in the other sheets. It will skip these if I feel confident enough about it. My finished dashboard, the column B is hidden. I haven't deleted it because if I delete the column, then the sheet won't work correctly. So it's just marked don't use. So I can just hide it. Pretty self-explanatory. It does all the same things, except it doesn't have this button right here. And same thing with my Spanish dashboard. Column B is again hidden. Before we finish up, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I make new dashboards for each language. I'm going to add French. And to do this, first of all, I'm going to duplicate the sheet and use it as kind of a base. It'll come up here. I'm going to rename it to French dashboard. Now this name is very important because it will impact the VBA macros that I'm going to show you. You can name these to whatever you want. I'm going to edit the button really quick. Edit this text really quick. Just get rid of these words because I don't need them. And then, as far as formatting goes in a new sheet, you can do whatever you want with it. I am going to very quickly make this blue colored because French is blue. No, I will not elaborate. Then I need to edit the hex value here for what background color I want this to be. In Excel, for some reason, hex colors are white swapped. That basically means if I type AABBCC, Excel will read that as CCBBAA. So any color I want, I have to swap the digits like that. So for the color blue, I think I can just invert these and get the color I want. We'll worry about the colors of these buttons in a moment. Now what I'm going to show you is the macros itself. In Excel, you press Alt 11, and here's this long monstrous list of every function that I need to use to make these sheets work. I'm going to copy this one from Cantonese, go down here to the very end, change this to French. Now every word here that says Cantonese in it, I have to change to French. Change that. This is a table name. I'll show this table name in a second. Change this. This one won't be used. Pick random French word B because column B is hidden for this language. It's not necessary. But if you wanted to use it for something, that's just an option there. And then we're done. That's the coding part. Now we have to go to these macros and assign the French ones. This button should be pick random language A. This will pick a random word from column A. So we go down here, pick French word A. If you had a language which had a pronunciation column in the middle, you would assign that pick random language B, but we don't. So we'll skip to this one. Pick random French word C. Then we need to pick reveal French answer. Clear French selection. Go to top, we don't need to change. It works on all sheets. This one would be compare French quiz answer. This one will be jump to French word. Jump to French answer. Now we can see if this works. Now that didn't work because I didn't change the table name. So you click the table here, you'll see this table design button, and we go French word list. Now because there was an error, we need to press this resume button and then try again. And now it works. So this is pretty close to the color I wanted. That's a bit better. So now we can hide this column. And if you want to change the color of these buttons, all you have to do is format control. You can actually select all of them and do this. So I'm going to do that. Format object. Change the color to, let's do this light blue, sky blue. And there you go. Now the last step is for page layout. You can change the background by using this button. Just simply delete it. And then you click this, and then you can pick a file off of your hard drive. Then I'm going to change the tab color so it kind of matches the color of the sheet theme. Then I'm gonna drag it all the way over to the end where I want it. And yeah, that's pretty much it as far as my language learning dashboard goes. It's part dashboard, part randomizer, and kind of part motivation machine. So whether you're juggling 3 languages or 13, it keeps everything neat, connected, and fun for me to use. I've put up this Excel sheet on Etsy for just as little as $2. I put a lot of time and energy into this, and I hope that if you use it, that it helps you.